Hi guys, this project we are going to be talking about pattern and color. So first we are going to practice making different patterns. Now I know that you guys remember that a pattern is something that repeats over and over. What I'm going to be using for this practice is a black Sharpie. You can use whatever materials you have. Maybe you've got a pencil or a crayon, another colored marker, that's totally fine. The first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold my paper in half. Then I'm gonna fold it in half again. Then I'm going to fold it into thirds. So I'm going to fold it once into the middle, see? And then I'm going to fold over that. It's okay if it's not perfectly the same size on every one. But when I open this up, I should have 12 spaces. I'm going to use my marker to break this up into those 12 spaces a little bit more clearly. So I'm just using my marker on the fold. Okay, so this is practice for us. You could also be doing this in your sketchbook if you're working from home. Okay. So, in each one of these spaces, I'm going to try to practice doing a different pattern. So, maybe for my first one, I want to do just some straight diagonal lines. Start with something simple so you're not overthinking it. Just get your brain going, thinking about patterns. So start with an easy one, and then you can go from there. So I've got my diagonal lines. Just think about different kinds of lines, really, and turn it into a pattern. One of my favorite kinds of lines is a spiral. So I'm gonna start with one spiral, and then I can add another one next to it, and another one, and just keep going until I've filled the space. And see how I'm kind of going off of the edge, right? There we go. You could do some kind of tick marks. You could do some circles, just repeated 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I could do some stars, just repeating over and over. And all I'm doing is filling in each one with a different pattern. Okay, so when I'm done, I might have something that looks like this. I've got 12 different patterns in each one. So we're going to use this to look back on for our project. So our project, I'm going to put my patterns to the side, and I'm going to get out a nice thick piece of paper. If you are at home, you should have gotten a nice thick pad of paper that has like a little staple up in the corner. You can use that kind of paper. And if you have some masking tape, that's what we're going to be using in the classroom in the building, because we're going to be doing watercolors. If you have watercolors at home, awesome. If you don't, then we're just going to use what we have. So I've got a roll of masking tape, and I'm going to mask off different sections of my piece of paper. So we're going to be making an abstract piece of art by separating our piece of paper. So I'm going to do some pieces, and I want to make sure that these pieces go all the way across my piece of paper. Okay, close enough. But I'm going to create different sections on my piece of paper. Let's see if we can get this all the way across. There we go. So I'm breaking my paper into different sections. Let's do a few more. Needs to go all the way to the edge. And what I'm trying to do is make sure that this doesn't go into the other section. So we want to create nice crisp lines. Okay, we're going to do one more. Okay, so now I've got these sections marked off. I'm going to take my Sharpie and I'm going to trace along those edges. And I'm sure you guys can guess what I'm going to want you to do in each space. That's right, I want you to do some patterns. Each space is going to have different patterns. So I'm going to start in one area and then fill it in and keep going. So each space has different pattern in it. All right, I have completed doing all of my patterns in each space. They're different, okay? And the important thing is that you are using a Sharpie to do this if you're doing watercolor. Because remember, if we get regular marker wet, it's just going to spread or bleed. Since we're using Sharpie marker, it's permanent, so it's gonna stay where it is on my paper. It's not going to bleed out when it gets wet. So I'm going to show you our color part of this project that we're going to do. You are going to be playing around with color to get an idea of what happens when you mix different. I'm going to start with doing some yellow and some blue together. So I'm going to, and I've got this masking tape on here, so it's masking off the paper for me in certain areas. And right now I'm using crayon. So I can color on that masking tape, and it's not going to mess up my paper. Okay, so I colored a little bit with that blue, and I'm going to color with some yellow. And where they are overlapping, you kind of get a little bit of an essence of green. Okay. Now, if I was using watercolors, this would be even more obvious. Okay. Maybe separating them. I could also do some colored pencils. So I've got some purple and some blue. I've got 3 different shades, so these would be analogous. So we've got like a turquoise blue, a blue purple, and a purple. Those would be analogous. All right, so these other spaces I might want to try with some watercolor. So let me get out some watercolor. All right, so these are the kinds of watercolors that you'll be using in the classroom. Just your basic Crayola watercolor. Okay, so I'm going to dip my brush in the water, and I'm going to, let's do some blue-green. So I'm going to get some blue on my brush. Start spreading that out. And get some green on my brush. Get a little bit more water if it starts to get dry. So see, I'm going right up onto that masking tape. Maybe I want to get a little more blue going on in there. There we go. Now I'm overlapping them, and I'm getting this really nice blended gradient going on. That's really nice. It's okay, you can see that it's going from dark green to yellow green. All right, so then when this is dry, or I can just do it now, but I risk it spreading, but I'm going to start removing my tape. Lines separating them. So yeah, we started with our pattern making practice, and this is our final product, blending different colors together to get different effects. I hope that you enjoyed this project, and make sure that you remember to take a picture of your finished project and turn it in on Seesaw. This is a 2-week project that we'll be working on in the classroom, so you've got 2 weeks to do this project. Have fun, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.